No BS, non-salesy conversation about data. How you doing, Juan?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really great. It's cool to be in a new spot.
Yes, a different place. We're doing a little bit of a European tour this week here. We're chatting with a lot of folks, meeting with customers. It's always just fun to be on the road and actually meet people live in person and just figure out how are things going, where's people's heads at that. And I think our goal today is to kind of really share what we've been learning over the last last couple of weeks has been really intense talking to a lot of folks and uh, figuring out where is not just the data team's heads at, but also where are like the board, like not even
Yeah.
the CEO, like the board level, like where is everybody's heads at? So
Yeah. I think that's a great place for us to do our little Tim and Juan rant today. And before we do that, for our warm up question or comment, just want to let everybody know we were looking on dictionary.com and we were looking at what the word of the day was, and the word of the day is skookum, skookum, which means powerful
and mighty,
but a little bit in a scary way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT is skookum.
It's skookum. Yeah. For those of you that want to get to know us a little bit better, we've been trying to figure out how to use skookum in a sentence. And so I was thinking, for the 4th of July, I went to a fireworks show, and man, it was skookum. That was a skookum fireworks show. I don't know. We're failing, I think.
All right, then we should stick with our data thing.
Okay, back to data, back to AI. So we've been talking a lot about like where are people focused, right, and where are budgets going, where are new initiatives focusing, and it seems like there are two areas where there's investment, maybe a couple more, right, and the two biggest areas that we're hearing a lot from all the data leaders that we're talking to are so budgets are kind of tight, economic times are kind of uncertain, but AI. Right, new investments in AI. People don't want to fall behind. They want to make sure that they're on top of this. There's a lot of excitement, right? Also caution, though.
Yep.
And then security on the topic of caution, right? Because part of that is, who knows what AI is going to mean from a security standpoint, but also, of course, just in general, cybersecurity continues to be an area of focus. Got to protect the business. Gotta make sure that we're taking care of our customer data.
Yeah.
Right?
So those are the two aspects that we've seen across the board. Everybody we've been talking to, that's what's on mind of CEOs. Actually, that's what the board is telling the CEOs and companies to be focusing on: AI and cybersecurity. Like, what is your AI strategy? Like, what are you doing for security? Now, that's an overlap across the board. But what's also interesting is that what we're seeing more in Europe is that a third one where there is a lot of not just interest, but where there's budget is for ESG.
Mm-hmm.
So
environment, sustainability, and
governance.
So
that's interesting, and what's fascinating that is a very European thing because it's not a topic that's shown up in the U.S. as much. Now, we've been thinking about this together. It's like we from the data space, right, and data and catalog and so forth. You want to be able to kind of justify your investments. You want to be able to say, how are we providing value? Well, it's very clear that if you want to like fast track or make sure that you are heading for success talking to the executives and to the board, is that you need to be able to tailor your conversation about data on those three things, especially AI and security in the US. And if you're in Europe, you probably can talk about ESG. ESG is not something that's coming up in the US from what we've been kind of just talking a lot about. So kind of a message here to what we're learning, and message to everybody who's listening is, you're trying to show value. You're trying to get buy-in. You're trying to kind of push the conversation to an executive level. You have to be tying your work to how is this impacting or going to deal with our AI strategy? How are we going to deal with security for our customer? Right. Because that is that's on CEOs' minds. That's what's on the board's mind.
Yeah, and this is where you can, if you're a data person or you're a data leader, either way, right? This is where you can align the work that you're doing and the value that you're providing to something where there's new investment and new focus. Because otherwise, you're kind of stuck just tying what you're doing to efficiency, right? How do I drive cost efficiency and performance efficiency in our company? AI, security, and then especially in Europe, but a little bit in the US as well, ESG is another area of sort of increased focus and investment. I think AI especially is interesting to tie your data initiatives to, because there's so much excitement. People want to try out new things. And I think that, in all of our conversations in the data community, as well as with our customers and enterprises, is that people know that AI relies on good data, well-governed data, And I think this is good. It's a good surprise because I think there's always a worry. Juan and I are always worried about sort of the honest no BS, right? And we were worried that the honest no BS is that people were just hyped up about AI and not going to keep their house in order, right, before they start building rocket ships on top of their house. And the reality is that people know garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, that is a phrase that everybody gets.
Yeah.
And I think also talking to the folks is the word governance is kind of like, no, that is it's a bad word, but they know they need it. Right. So I think something we were talking about earlier today is like we go from boring governance to exciting AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the opportunity to connect that stuff that we need to eat our vegetables.
Yeah, you have to do good governance. You have to catalog your data. You need to
invest
document.
Invest in
good
metadata.
data systems and things like that. Yeah, exactly. You have to do those things. But AI is the thing that, it's the steak and the dessert that can go with your vegetables.
So now you're able to go justify, like, this is why we need to invest in data quality. This is why we need to invest in having your catalogs, invest in having people to have a stewardship program and so forth, because you are setting yourself up for success for this AI strategy that everybody is looking to define. So I think this, and the other thing is that it's very clear that these the generative AI, these large language models, does not have the knowledge and the context of your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be able to provide that context of your organization, and that is going to be through knowledge graphs. It's going to be through RAG and through embeddings and vector databases. But that means that whatever you're organizing that's going to be given to a large language model, that needs to be clean, beautiful. That's the context. So now you're able to go justify why you need to go invest in your data quality, invest in your metadata and your catalog initiative. So this is the way how to go sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the non-salesy podcast, but at the end, everybody who's listening is like trying to figure out how to go sell the work that they're doing to their own stakeholders, to their executives, their company. So hopefully giving you some of the tips of what the conversations you'll be having.
Yeah, whether you're doing it directly or you're indirectly connected, metadata management, governance, data quality, documentation, like these things, you do these things and it's going to make your AI better.
So if your executive is saying we want AI, or like, yeah, we want AI too. Everybody wants AI, but to get there, we need to get our house in order. So I think this is actually the perfect timing to be able to go tie all your metadata, your catalog initiatives to AI.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I think from the AI side, there's always kind of these two sides. One is on the unstructured, like, oh, we have all these texts you want to go do, and I think we're seeing a lot of the summarizations, code generations. I mean, that is really strong work. That is from the unstructured side, where I guess not a lot of the data teams are working. But when it comes to a lot of the vision of chatting with your data, this question answering, a lot of the stuff that we've been pushing on too, that's where context is key. Mm-hmm. So and a lot of the questions that executives want to answer with their AI, with this new vision of AI, is going to require all that data that is stored in your structured data,
exactly,
in your SQL databases, and that's where context is key.
Exactly, context is key, and that's why we get so excited about knowledge graphs and how they can help provide the context and facts to LLMs, and then LLMs can both feed things into the knowledge graph, but also LLMs are going to provide that natural language sort of interface, right? So I think that's exciting. And just to kind of round out this topic, we've been talking to a lot of different organizations. Just a couple of days ago, we were with a very large consultancy, and talking to some very, very smart people around AI and around data science. And we were all really agreeing pretty strongly that an ideal architecture around AI is the combination of LLMs, vector databases, and taking embeddings and being able to use that for better results, right, in combination with prompt engineering, and then knowledge graphs, right? And that those three things, sort of vector databases, LLMs, and knowledge graphs, are probably the three key pillars of sort of the next generation AI architecture. And so it's everything is so early, right? It reminds me of like the early days of Hadoop. Hopefully it's going to be a lot more sticky and valuable than sort of Hadoop ended up being. But it reminds me of those early days where, what are the right pieces? What do we need? How do we make sure this is secure? How do we make sure this is performant? How do we make sure this is valuable? And so it's exciting to see this all pan out.
So I love how you're bringing this up right now, and it's a great way to wrap up. Is that from the from a technology standpoint, we're seeing again the LLMs, the knowledge graphs, and the vector databases all coming together. Now the devil's in the details, and those details we still need to figure them out.
Right.
Everybody is right now experimenting on this and figuring out what sort of a combination these things are, and then how much is it from prompt engineering to fine tuning to training, and what do you put in embeddings, what do you put in the knowledge graphs, how are these combined?
Yeah, I mean, you're even doing some of your own benchmarks to try to figure out where do we push the envelope here.
Exactly.
Right?
So this is really fun time. But at the end of the day, it's always focused on the value, what that organization needs, and where they're investing, and where they're seeing where the puck is heading. And again, back to that, it's AI, security, and for the Europeans, ESG.
Yep, agreed. So for those of you in the community, give us a shout on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Tell us your thoughts about where you see these investments going, where you see the focus being. Talk to us about AI and what you think that architecture is going to be. And let's figure this all out together. Let's experiment. Let's share knowledge.
And next week we are going to be in London, and we'll be at Big Data London. So catch us over there, and we'll have Chris Tabb as our guest next week.
Yep.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers, y'all.